Alrighty.
No, that's not how you're supposed to say it. It's all right, here we go. This is a 1v1 custom for the weekend tournament 04. I guess that would just
Hey,
be
I'm
4.
just gonna leave the RUI impersonations to you. I'm clearly not cut of the same jib as you, all-star casters.
We
I
have
am second chair
Paladin.
for a reason.
Paladin
Paladin,
versus Paladin.
Iron One versus Samson. This is the true clash of the Iron Hand
Now,
and the allied nations.
Iron One is a pretty unique pilot. He's got really good bonuses to attack and aim rotation speed, but he's exclusive in the sense that you can only get him through playing in the war zone.
However, there is another way to obtain him for other players, as you can purchase Ultimate Iron One for diamonds, put him on, and since ultimates are disabled, he will function as a standard Iron One.
So both players taking their respective close outposts, the more difficult one that doesn't require ferrying. Makuo generally preferring Dillos, whereas Tihatavoda going with the more standard Longhorn.
That's right. And as we can see here, Tihatavoda, his classic opening is just the 3 Longhorn, following it quickly up with a single support unit.
Makuo keeping it real, he's got moneymakers back at home.
And that is really a throwback, though it can't be too much of a throwback with how Moneymakers were visually reworked a while back.
Moneymakers have been buffed multiple times, but have just never quite made it back into the PvP scene. They tend to be easily harassed, and so they're not usually on the field long enough to reach their payback period. But if you can keep the moneymakers for long enough, and
They
you
will
push
start
regularly, they do
before
pay
you would do
dividends.
some work. And since Makuo was opening up with the 3 armadillos, he was still able to field 3 tanks in his initial push on that outpost and capture it just as quickly as Tihatavoda was able to capture his.
Tihatavoda, strangely enough, with 4 heavy mines at fort. I'm wondering where he's going to put those.
And we will see. It could be in an attempt to avoid any potential rebel spam.
Now the
In which
interesting
case he would be
thing,
disappointed because Makuo does not have rebels.
1 minute and 30, the first set of lockboxes is out. Each player takes 1. The interesting
That's
thing
right.
about this middle structure is that it's very difficult to push from one middle outpost to the other. Tihatavoda going ahead and putting those heavy mines on this path through, so Makuo is going to have a hard time advancing from this outpost without ferrying.
That's right. However, both players here do have carry mechs, so as we get into the slightly later periods of the game and they progress to the ability to carry 3 Longhorns or 4 Armadillos, we could see a lot of ferry hopping, which does have lots of potential on a map this wide.
Makuo going ahead and neutralizing the bottom outpost of Tihatavoda.
In that slow and unstoppable manner that a paladin has, where with 2 paladins up against each other, they can just stand and shoot each other for a solid 2 minutes before either one of them has to leave.
Yeah, the Paladin's got some serious frontal armor bonuses, which makes it very difficult to stop.
That's right, and Makuo did a good job of holding that outpost off for a while, but the presence of 4 bot spawners, well, there's a 5th one that's non-functional, but the 4 bot spawners pumping out creeps was in fact enough to keep that outpost under Tihatavoda's control, as Makuo is massing up an Armadillo army, possibly for that long push.
Makuo is being a little bit strange here. As he's building units, he's command moding them back just into a little clump. I guess he's trying to keep his options open to be able to push this blue outpost at middle, as well as potentially go around up and to the left.
That's right, however, Tihatavoda's tanks have been auto-deploying in such a manner as to make any push difficult. And now Makuo is going to have to do as much work as he can with this harass.
Makuo just shredding the bot spawners, while Tihatavoda just taking out Dillo after Dillo. Just the attrition of the Paladin, the fact that it can just sit there and take the hits to the face and not even care. That's really where its strength
Look at how much
lies.
health it still has left, as it is able to completely exterminate Tihatavoda's bot spawner presence, meaning that they were not at all credit efficient, as there was no real return on them with tier 3 or 4 creeps.
Another set of boxes is out, been sitting out for about 45 seconds.
And it looks like both will go to Makuo, as he has one smoking and burning red tank that he should really get to repairing.
It's an armadillo. Who cares?
All armadillo lives matter, Frisky.
I disagree.
As Tihatavoda rebuilds the bot spawners,
They
only
get
to have
taken
them
out almost
once again
immediately.
executed.
As if sensing that Tihatavoda wanted to keep his bot spawners, Makuo lands and starts shredding them almost
One
immediately.
by one, two of them go down again, as Makuo leaves that armadillo as a tribute to keep Tihatavoda distracted while he goes off to do Makuo things.
Still just building a clump of dillos behind his middle outpost, whereas...
And we will see that clump of dillos could run up against the clump of longhorns that we see Tihatavoda holding on to. Or he could
clump of
just
heavy
go
mines.
around it and hit a Y push.
This is a heavy mine friendly map. I think Makuo is going to end up running into problems when he finally does push out, since Tihatavoda is going to have virtually every path mined.
Though, we do have a situation where, once again, there are two AirMechs on the field, so we could see some serious micro and leapfrogging going on.
Putting some more mines down, just for good measure. This game is a little bit... It's starting to stagnate at this point. Both players seem to forget that they are in carry mechs. You've got wide open corner outposts for each player that no one has attempted to exploit at all.
And it looks like Makuo is once again commanding his units forward, perhaps sensing that that wall of heavy mines will make a push difficult, though he could always womp them using his relatively inexpensive patchers.
He has bought a fistful of Buckies. It will be interesting to see if he tries to set those up out of map vision anywhere. But he's gotten some pretty good fort damage in just with these recurring dillo drops.
He's sending in some dillo drops, taking an easy quarter off of Tihatavoda's health.
Tihatavoda has given up on his bot spawner ideal and is now settling for Tesla towers.
That's right, and those Tesla towers are going to be much more effective against any further armadillo troops.
What's very surprising is the fact that neither player has ferried from this close outpost. You see that you have a situation where they can easily just ferry right over and do a quick fort push on either side.
That is correct, and it is very surprising to see that there's no real interest in that, as it would not take long at all. And it looks like Makuo might be planning something as he once again command modes his forces. Bringing in those ice cream buckies, perhaps.
So he's sending the buckies as tribute to trip the mines, and then sends the dillos on a Y push behind them.
That's right, and there he goes using some nice and expensive units to womp, as Tihatavoda realizes what's going on and is now rushing to respond with his paladin hammer, missing the first shot and getting very low himself.
That was dangerous. Those dillos didn't like having hammers thrown at them. Tihatavoda, rather than counter-pushing or dropping, is actually going to fall back with command mode. He's going to try to catch these dillos in the rear, but the dillos are faster than longhorns. These heavy mines are way too late.
They could be dead before Tihatavoda even knows what's happening.
This is probably going to be GG for Makuo.
And that is such an incredibly fast kill. Is that base melted in maybe 5 seconds to those hyper armadillos? Incredible.
But it is refreshing not to see rebels, I will say that.
That's right, and the first time someone decides to eschew the rebels, well, they've made it to the finals.
But GG for Makuo, making it to the finals.
That is right.
And we will be right back with the next game.
See you in a minute.